side of your town. You tune in to Gangster Chronicles.
Gangster Chronicles, we gon' tell you how it goes.
If I lie, my nose will grow like Pinocchio. We gon' tell you the truth and nothing but the truth.
Gangster Chronicles, this is not your average show.
You're now tuned into the real MC8, Big James, and Big Steel.
This is strictly from the streets.
Hello.
We represent the G's.
We'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of the Gangster Chronicles podcast. And this one is special right here. One of my good friends from the city of Compton, California, a lot of pivotal hits under his belt, considered a legend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I made a lot of records, man. He runs with a producer by the name of DJ Quik that's a pretty decent producer. In his own right now, he's a fucking genius. We got my good friend High C in the house. Croft, what's up?
Man, what's up, Big Steel?
Oh, man, just chilling, man. I've been waiting to get you in here forever, man.
Man, this feel crazy because you my bro. We talk like every day, like, you know.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And that's why it's sometimes weird doing these interviews, man, with people that you're real cool with.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is having a conversation and you know everything about that person, but you ask them
Yeah.
about stuff you already know.
For sure.
So, man, this is special because you don't give a lot of interviews. I think I've only seen like a couple of interviews on you online. There was people, like I saw you did one with Tony A.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think you did one with Soren Baker.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. No social media at all. So
No,
when I told the people and I did a post and said, hey, I'm about to get High C
Yeah.
in the studio.
Yeah.
I had like, man, maybe like 1,500 people in the thread,
Man.
which is a lot. So you real popular out there, man.
I'm gonna have to do one of my like Kevin Durant or something, give me one of them ghost and burner accounts and shit.
Mm-hmm. You
And
gonna
just
have
start
to.
rocking like that.
You gonna have to, dog, because people love you out there and they want to hear from you.
Man, I love them back, no?
For sure. So we could go way back to the beginning since you don't do a lot of interviews.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you first started rapping?
Man, I had to be, I want to say probably, if I had to take a guess, and it's not accurate, but I want to say probably about 13, 14 years old, somewhere around there.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know. You don't
Yeah.
write your raps down on paper. Everything you do is kind of like a freestyle.
But yeah, like I sit there and think about it, and it's almost like I treat it like a rehearsal, you know, like if you're going to school or something and you had a play that you wanted to recite, and, you know, one of the Martin Luther King plays that you was a part of when you was holding the M, and the M is for, you know, so I just felt like I wanted to have my hands free. I wanted to be able to express myself using my hands. A lot of us do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, let me just start kind of like remembering, like, you know, by the time we all in the studio, because we all be, you know, it'd be groups of us in the studio, and by the time dudes finish writing their shit, I'm sitting there thinking about, okay, I want to enter like this, and I want to end it like this. And, you know, don't get me wrong, when I first started, I had like notebooks and shit that I used to write down. And I remember in high school, I had this like folder, a couple of folders, man, and I don't know where the hell they went. I think somebody got me, or I probably done misplaced them shits or whatever, but Norm, I had some fire in there, like some shit. And you know, when you got that shit, you can't get it back because you wrote it down a certain way and you can't remember exactly what it is. So I was like, damn, I don't want to lose no more notebooks, you know?
Mm-hmm. So you just start keeping everything up inside the
pretty
brain.
much, yep.
Up inside the brain. You know, so you mentioned that you started rapping real early.
Mm-hmm.
Was Quik producing then?
Yeah, Quik was doing most of the, like, Quik was more of a producer than he was a rapper, man. People don't really know that. Like, he was really DJ Quik mix.
Mm-hmm. So
You know
he was
what I'm
doing all the beats for you early on?
He was like, I was messing around with stuff, you know, on my own or whatever, you know how I get down or whatever. So, but he was like, he had that shit down pat. Like, he would take the cheapest piece of equipment or the like lower level piece of equipment and just make wonders out of that shit. Like, he squeezed every juice out of that lemon. Like, he can't, you know, like, he just knew how to take something and just make that shit just sound real, real good, man.
Yeah, because a lot of the earlier recordings you guys did on the mixtapes and stuff, on those Rhodium swap meet mixtapes,
Yeah.
they were done on 4 tracks, right?
That was done on the 4-track. That was Steve Yanos, rest in peace, and Tony A, yeah. Them shits took a long time to do. That's how I ended up meeting like Eazy-E and Dr. Dre, you know, from doing the Roadium stuff too.
Yeah, because you go back a long ways and you still look young as hell, dog.
Oh man, thank you, man.
I always look like a little kid every time I see you. I gotta catch up, man. I gotta hit the gym.
Man, come on, man. You know I'm this shit. You know that's where I be at.
And that's what I want to go into, man. When did the crew get together? Like, when did you start hooking up with Quik, Second to None, and all those guys?
Well, shit, most of us went to school together. Quik stayed around the corner. We from the same neighborhood or whatever. So
Treetop Power.
Yeah,
Treetop, 2 T's and a P.
Man, you already know. So we, Quik stayed around the corner, and we was like real tight as friends, and just used to ride dirt bikes, man. Like the stuff you see now when the dudes on the dirt bikes, we was riding dirt bikes, man, a long time ago. Like just in the streets and doing our shit, dirt bike riding, and just doing what the normal badass little kids was doing. And Quik was over there doing this thing. I had another dude that I used to not work with, but just make music, like just fuck around with the turntables. His name was Sean Whitehurst. Mm-hmm. So Whitehurst, Mixmaster White, we used to call him. He used to blend all the shit, and we had the reverbs, and we didn't really have drum machines back there, so we would just get down off of instrumentals. And then we started everybody was doing their little shit back then. It was like ballers, and they was making money, and they'll give a nigga like $100 just to make a tape for them and say their name in the tape because they wanted to impress the girls and shit. Mm-hmm. So they'd be like, man, I'll be like, hell yeah, I'll take this 100. Like to me, it was like, god damn, I'm young. Looking at 100 was like, back then was like, god damn, that was a lot. So take the 100, say their name in there, and shit like that. And they wanted their own little. That's when the sound systems in the car was real big, like mm-hmm. niggas to shake your house, like 215s and shit all beating down the block. So they had their name in the tape, and then we just kind of started like that.
And what year was this? You talk about 87, 88,
yeah,
right?
It was in 80, yep, 80-something.
Yeah, 87, 88. Yeah. That's when the sound systems, when I first hit Cali.
Yeah.
People have like 5,000 watts in their trunk, man. You just sound like gorillas trying to get off the trunk.
Hell yeah, man. They had shit in the cars, man. Sometimes it'll take your breath, dog. Like, you'll feel the bass hitting your chest or your eyelashes wiggling and shit. You be like, god damn. But niggas is really into that sound shit and putting, doing personalized tapes and shit. Mm-hmm. It was like the thing,
So Quik was always nice then.
Oh yeah, I always had a talent and just a gift for that shit.
Yeah, so y'all get together, y'all doing the mixtapes and everything like that, and y'all got the whole crew. Cause I noticed y'all appeared on each other's joints.
Yeah.
Like I would hear you on Second to None stuff, I would hear Second to None on your stuff, yep. I would hear Quik on your stuff and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So around what time did you get your first, cause you was working with Steve Yanos, rest in peace.
Yeah, I went to the Rhodium, man. My boy, my dog, man, he just recently passed away, man. My boy BB, and me and BB, he was like, Crawford, man, come up to the Rhodium swap meet with me. And I was like, what's up there? He was like, man, I'm looking for jobs. Like, we can get some money up there. And I was like, no shit. He was like, yeah. So I said, man, you sure? We caught the bus up there and put up at the Rhodium. And he went, I think he was working with some dude that sold weights and weightlifting equipment and shit like that. So I ran into this dude that sold pants, like his name, named George, mm-hmm. little short French guy and shit, like smooth with the ladies. He sold women clothing. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a job with him, helping him, sell clothes or whatever. And so I used to always hear this music coming from this stand, shit, we was just attracted to music or whatever. I used to hear this music and I'm like, man, they playing some shit over there. I got to go see what's going on, Mm-hmm. So I went over there and I saw Steve Yanos, and then I ended up probably meeting Tony A like a little bit later on. But I'm looking at Steve, I'm thinking, when I pull up over there, it's going to be some black dude or whatever. I look at Steve Yanos, his Asian dude, long hair and shit like this. His wife, Asian. Shout out to Sue. That's still a homie, man. So I'm looking at him like, man, but one thing about Steve, Norm, you can't judge a book by its cover, because this dude knew every fucking record, every name of a record, who made the record, mm-hmm. kind of like Quik do. Like, we would be riding and Quik could do the same thing, like, oh, that's such and such, he made this, and that's the keyboard player from Johnny Worwell, Bernie Worwell, he just know all the shit, Mm-hmm. Steve Yanos was the same way. Hey, you need to use this break and do this and this and that. He was just the king of the vinyl. So a lot of people used to gravitate towards him to get their records. And back then, we used to sample a lot of shit off of break beats, and we'll go through all kind of crates of records just to find that little break so we can sample that shit to rap to. So Steve had all these old school records, and then, long story short, I just started telling him like, look, man, I get down, I rap, and I've saved up some money to take my take my little project to the Black Hole Studios back in the day. That was the little Black Hole.
Yeah.
So I found out. I went in there and made me some little shit. It was some little cool shit or whatever. It wasn't really nothing I let a motherfucker hear today, but it was like some little shit, you know, like I went in there and stretched out, and then he heard some of my shit and he was like, oh, okay, you serious about it? I'm like, yeah, I'm like, this is my shit, you know. And then not only that, like I played alto sax in junior high, then I played a little bit in high school. So I was always into music, man. Just always into it.
A lot of people don't know because you produce yourself too.
Yeah.
You're a producer, very good producer.
Thank you, man.
Did you ever, at some point, what made you decide I'm gonna focus more on my rapping than making the beats? Because you was doing both for a while, right?
Yeah.
But you was primarily, because you never really put yourself out there as a producer.
No, I never did, man. Because I feel like when I do something, like when I'm producing, I feel like it'll be like, if I'm fucking with you, it'll be tailor-made for me and you to get down on, or if it's something for me, like, you know, like I would, out with my producing stuff, I feel like it's more of a vibe, like a frequency, like a lower level, higher level vibe, or whatever we into or whatever we shooting for at the moment. So I felt like I wouldn't want to go and just do a whole bunch of beats and shit for somebody else that probably wouldn't understand where I'm coming from, you know, if that makes sense. Like, this is what I'm feeling on this, or this is what I'm feeling on that. So I just kind of like let like Quik, and then don't get me wrong, Quik is like the master at that shit. So when he do the shit on the SB12, he can do that shit so quick, and he made it effortless. And it was like, shit, nigga, that's you. That's what you do. Like if we playing baseball, you the pitcher, I'm the catcher, or the second baseman. We got a shortstop. I don't need to be doing everything. I can let him get down. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
for
just
sure.
stretch out on what I can do.
Now, who was officially in the crew? I'm gonna try to name them off. Tell them if I missed anybody.
Yeah.
You got Second and None.
Mm-hmm.
You got Quik.
Yep.
Of course, I see you. Then we had the homie Mossberg.
Well, before Mossberg.
Before Mossberg, AMG.
AMG came. AMG was the only one that wasn't from the city, but we put him on real early in the game. Like AMG just always been good with the another dude that produced too. Like produced his ass off, write his own raps, but he was just like more like a real like rapper. You know what I'm saying? That nigga can spit. He got bars. You know. So.
Yeah, AMG from Ohio. Yeah, shout out to AMG. That's my partner from Ohio. I'm had to get him in there because he's another dude to stay out the spotlight.
Hell yeah. You know,
AMG don't got no social media or nothing, man. He just around.
Yep. So we met G later on, and then after G,
Sugar Free.
Sugar Free was
say Sugar mixed Sugar Free.
That's that's a whole, we can get into that though, but
no, we go through the whole thing.
Hell yeah. But Sugar Free came in, and then Mossy was rest in peace. That's my little nigga, man. Mossberg was like one of our dudes that was up and coming, like, but fast though. Like he was, you know, doing this shit. He was pushing a line, heavy line on.
Yeah, he was hungry.
Yeah, he was coming up fast.
Mossberg, and I gotta mention my homeboy, the man that gave me my first check. One of them guys that gave me my first check, because I got my first piece of money through you.
Yeah.
And then Black Tone got me my first placement as a producer.
Hell yeah. Shout out Black.
Yeah, shout out Black Tone. And Black Tone is not doing well now. He had a stroke.
Yeah. He recovering, doing pretty good. We talk on occasion and shit. So, man, speedy recovery to Black and the fam, man, for sure.
Okay, so we go into the phase, man, where you up at the Rhodium, and I don't think a lot of people, especially the young people today, recognize the significance of the Rhodium to West Coast hip hop.
Yeah.
I would say the Rhodium and the Compton Swap Meet are the two hubs for Southern California hip hop. Especially back in the 80s, a lot of people got their start out those two, out the Compton Swap Meet and out the Rhodium. I would say even more so the Rhodium, because the Rhodium was before the Compton Swap Meet. Am I correct?
Yeah, no, you're right.
You mentioned,
especially if it wasn't before, but the music was before, definitely.
Yeah, for sure, because you mentioned seeing Dr. Dre up there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dr. Dre would be up there hustling his stuff. The World Class Wrecking Crew at the time.
Ran into Easy up there. That's how me and Easy met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Easy E. That's what I was going to go into. Mm-hmm. How did you guys not wind up on Ruthless Records?
That's a big question. That's a good question, Norm, because I honestly thought, like, back in the day, like when we was getting down, me and Quik and all, it was like, we really thought that was like, because, like, just imagine kids from the city that didn't know the industry at all too much, but we just know what we see in front of us, which is, Ruthless Records that we see on the label. We don't know how big it is or who owned it or this and that. And it was like Def Jam, of course. It was, just all of the what was the other label? I think it was like a Sleeping Bag and Fourth and Broad, just shit that we didn't really know. We didn't know who was what or whatever, but we also knew the bigger labels, you know. But back then, the bigger labels catered to stuff like, you know, the stuff that our parents would listen to, like Al Green and Teddy Pendergrass and, you know, Michael Jackson, all the shit that, you know, that people listen to. So we didn't really know like the hip hop shit, like until Def Jam, you know, certain ones came out. So we was figuring like, you know, damn, we want to be down with Ruthless, but Ruthless was doing their own thing, going through their own distribution channel. So we ended up landing where we landed. Thank God, it was cool, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So your first record deal was actually on Disney.
Yeah, that shit was on Disney, bro. And that's what, Norm, we got to make a whole movie documentary on the first rapper on Disney. And after me, they changed that shit to Hollywood Records. Like, they wanted to be in the rap game, but they didn't really want to, like... Yeah,
they didn't want the association.
Because, like, why did y'all sign me and give me all this money? One thing they did, they fed me. They laced me up. They kept my pockets right. They give a nigga a check just to shut me up sometimes because I'd be in there complaining and shit. It was like... Shh. And Peter Paterno was the president at the time. He's the lawyer on Dr. Dre shit right now. You know, Dr. Dre and Eminem. I think he had something to do with the Dre Beast deal. You know Peter Paterno?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so...
Heavyweight.
Hell yeah. Michael Eisner at the time was over everything. So I'm like, they signed, you know, they know where we come from. Quik was doing his deal at Profile. Second and None was doing Profile. I think AMG was doing Select. I think it was Select Records or whatever. It's the beauty of it. We all had our own individual deals, but we was already like Voltron. We was already clicked up. But everybody would go get their individual bag. And none of them pockets was deeper than that Disney shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, for
With
sure.
All due
You
respect,
talk about
them
Disney.
motherfucker, hell yeah. Normie Boy done fucked off some good money just...
you talk about Disney, man. So at that time, I'm pretty sure they wanted to kind of censor a lot of your material.
Yeah.
They wanted everything to be kind of clean.
Yeah, that's exactly what they wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Because you didn't hear a whole bunch of cursing on your earlier records.
I mean, it was a bunch of cursing on my records. That's kind of what we like. We'll make jokes sometimes now, like.
Well, compared to today.
Oh yeah.
In comparison to what they're doing today, it was kind of lightweight back then.
I won't say it was lightweight, but I'll say it was different. Put it that way.
Yeah, it was different. It was a little different.
Yeah.
It was definitely
our
hardcore
shit was more,
street stuff.
Yeah, we was more like street party. Let's have some fun. Let's hit the street. Let's, you know, party, turn up or whatever. And they still do the same shit today, but it's just in a different way, you know. Yeah,
you sold a lot of records with Disney, so they was happy with you.
Hell yeah. And that's when they wasn't really tracking shit, you know, like SoundScan wasn't really. That's when the bootleg shit was heavy, so a lot of this shit was bootleg, but. Yeah, we did good with them.
Yeah, because I think you would sound scan something like 300-something thousand copies.
Yep.
Or probably more. So you figured
efficiently by now.
Yeah, if you sound scan 300-something by then, Croft, you probably sold back in that time. People understand how big the bootlegging stuff was.
Yeah.
You might have sold 600,000-700,000.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. That's to me that was easy. And I love the fact that Disney put me in like the soundtracks of Encino Man, certain movies that I was fucking with, like South Central, like certain movies I had action to, like getting in and putting my music in these movies and soundtracks and stuff like that, because of course it was Disney, but they'll link me up with certain stuff. And then, you know, I was getting breaks like the Chris Rock shit, the CB4 movie.
Yeah, who you actually was doing the rapping. You was doing all the rapping.
Yeah, that was me
up
doing
there.
the rapping, and Daddy O was doing the rapping from Stetsasonic from doing the other part of the shit.
Straight out of Low Cash.
Yeah, straight out of Low Cash and all that sweat for my balls. And shout out to Chris Rock right now. You know, he hot right now.
Yeah,
because
sure.
all that controversial shit. But and then I did another soundtrack for Chris Rock on that Head of State, I think it was called, some movie or something. I put one of my shits in there. So when I catch up with Chris, man, we gotta holler, bro.
Yeah, for sure. You did a lot of pivotal stuff.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, man. This during the time, man, we talking about the 80s right now.
Yeah.
And in the 80s, it was just a whole nother level as far as gangsterism.
Yeah.
In the streets, people was really gang banging.
Hell yeah.
And Quik was one of the first, correct me if I'm wrong, Quik was one of the first people to really start kind of like banging on wax a little bit, because he would throw little stuff in there.
Yeah.
He would throw little subliminal stuff in the records and kind of let you know what it is, you know?
No, on the mixtapes, you know, shit, the tape, you know, the hood tape. So he just, you know, we just let it be known. And then after that, it was becoming kind of like, the dudes that was kind of stepping up. Because back then, I ain't gonna lie, bro, it was just kind of hard to just really get out there and just kind of put yourself on the front line like that, because it was really like motherfuckers that will come and test your shit. You know what I'm saying? So you do shit nowadays, and it's still bad, don't get me wrong, but it's not cameras everywhere back then like it is today. You can't fucking sneeze or take a leak on the side of a building without a motherfucker filming you now. But back then, a nigga come slide on you and do whatever, and they don't know who did it until, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the greatest rappers alive, they still don't, it's unsolved. But right now, dudes got cameras everywhere. They actually doing shit on camera. That's why I don't really rock with the social media shit too much. Like taunting motherfuckers on cameras and motherfuckers running up on people trying to get points and cloud of doing nigga shit to people on camera. That's just not my lane. I don't feel it. But if that's what niggas do, I respect that. But it was just different back then, bro. So when you said some shit, you had to really stand on some shit.
Yeah, it wasn't like now, because I see a lot of people that claim they Pirus, they Bloods and this and Crips, and they not necessarily really like that. And they can kind of get away with it. But back then, you really had to stand on, you had to be a man or wear that red.
Hell yeah.
You had to, especially being a Blood.
Hell yeah. You already know back then.
Because y'all came at it, and plus y'all came into the time to where everybody, it seemed like, was Crips at the time.
That's what, the family back in, I got family out of town from the South and shit, and they used to be concerned about me and shit because they heard I was running in the streets, and they was like, man, you're not running, all they thought it was Crip mean. They thought Crip mean everything, you know what I'm saying? Crip was the Mexican gangs, Crip was they didn't know, you're not doing the Crip, you Crip. I'm like, nah, that ain't what we doing. But they didn't understand it and shit. But it was hard back then to be, Now,
did y'all ever have any conflict with that, like, because people knowing y'all was Pirus?
All the fucking time.
Yeah.
You best believe goddamn right.
Let's talk about it.
Man, we was the only one. We was like the first ones to come out and they knew we wasn't, like they heard a lot of the shit and what we was dressed like and what we was wearing. They know we wasn't, we wasn't no Crips. They know exactly what was going on. And it was like dudes that like you said, the dudes from out of town that probably heard somebody say something, and then you had some real niggas. Like, it was one of those things. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we was kind of like the first ones from that side to really go out and tour and people be known like, okay, them niggas is dogs, and the other niggas is lokes. Like, we was just touring, and everywhere we go, where some other, back then, before all the shit got twisted up, Norm, all the Bloods had respect for each other, loved each other. It used to be a thing where dudes would say blood love, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, I can go to San Diego, pull up on the dog, and just share, break bread or whatever. I can go from anywhere. And it was like, come on, blood, let's, whoop, whoop. It was cool. Like, man, the nigga look out for you. But now they beefing with each other, something terrible. Like,
I remember that time, man. I remember that time that Bloods would look out for Bloods and Crips would look out for Crips.
Yeah.
And now it's a thing, man, to where it's more Bloods killing Bloods now, and it's more Crips killing Crips.
Yep. That's how it go.
What do you think, man, being one of them dudes that's really a veteran of the streets? A lot of people don't never bring your name up, but you was a real gangster. You know what I'm saying? You a real gangster. You know what I mean? It was a real gangster. Of course, we grown men now, got children and, responsibilities and stuff, so ain't nobody running the streets like they was. But during that time, have you ever had an incident on the road to where you really thought it was going to go down?
Man, we had a whole bunch of the fucking incidents. Like that shit Quik talking about in the record, just like Compton. Like being shot at and shit, coming out the back of a show. And the dude, like, just for instance, one night we doing a show and I seen the dude had on this green, I never forget what color he had on, green with his chain and shit. He was doing this thing or whatever. Then he was in the show, enjoying the show, singing our shit. And I think that was San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken. Dude partying, he had a couple of his homies with him. I don't remember who exactly was with him. But long story short, bro, we came out and dude was laid out, man. We shot in the dome like somebody got him and domed him out there. And he was like, damn. And then we was trying to get out the building. Some motherfuckers started shooting at us. We had to throw the vest on quick. And some of our team was with us, security and shit, and homies, and start shooting back at them. And we got in the van. We had MC Breed with us, man. The MC Breed manager was like, "What the fuck going on? Y'all, this shit is real." This dude jumped. I think he had on a white suit. He jumped on the ground and was laying under a van and got up, was like, "Man, y'all motherfuckers is crazy." This and that. And we was like, "Man, this kind of how it go, homie, when you pushing this line." You know what I'm saying? And not that we was pushing the line like that or banging on niggas, but they just knew where we was from. You know what I'm saying? So it was just made it a little bit harder.
Yeah, and let's talk about this. And ironically, I wish I had the homie 8 up here today. Now,
MC 8.
You know, 8 was from Trag New.
Yeah.
8 was from Trag New. Y'all from Treetop. Y'all local to each other. Y'all both from Compton.
Yeah. When
the beef started with him and Quik, how intense did that get for the whole camp?
Man, to be honest, it was one of those things to where, man, I don't even know like how the shit kind of really got kicked off, but it was one of those things to where it wasn't no different from the regular day-to-day shit with us, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we used to. The thing about Compton, man, and you know, Norm, because you've been out there with us a million times and shit, Compton got so many goddamn hoods. It's not that big, and it's overflowed with hoods and congested with different hoods. If you go on this side of the street, you in this hood. If you go down this way, you in this hood. So we kind of just kept it pushing. It was just everyday protocol for us, you know what I'm saying, until we run into somebody, you know what I'm saying. You know how that shit go. We ain't losing no sleep. I'm sure they ain't losing no sleep, but if you run into a motherfucker, we gonna address the situation, you know what I'm saying, like, hey, what's happening? And then when we saw him in the airport and shit, I thought it was cool. Like Quik said, you know what I'm saying, we seen him and the nigga was on some big boy shit, and I wasn't even gonna let it go down like that. It was a few of us, and I think he was by himself or somebody with one person. And nigga didn't rush him or nothing like that, because we don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to take the fade, nigga, take the fade, if that's what you want to do right now. But they talked or whatever, exchanged numbers, and I think he changed his number, and that's what kind of made Quik even madder. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, we was supposed to be like when he said you changed your little beeper number. Like back then, niggas had pagers, so he kind of changed his number. I think that's what happened. I'm not sure though.
And the thing is, man, those situations usually be so touchy that he might not exchange his number being on some stuff. It might not have had nothing to do with y'all, because I change my number all the time.
That's what I'm saying. So you never knew what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what the fuck was going on. But at that time, it's like motherfuckers young, full of testosterone. You know, we want to be the king of the hill just like they want to be the king of the hill. Niggas know he a Crip. They know we from where we from or whatever. So it's like that tension, everybody already looking at it like, oh, okay. You know how motherfucker at school, when you see a motherfucker about to fight and you like, ooh, and motherfuckers like they doing all this shit. Like, let's see what like motherfuckers just wanted to see what was going to happen to me. And it was like no difference from like everyday hood shit, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And that's what goes on. And one thing I do want to say, 8 has always let it be known how I see my nigga. You know how 8
a good nigga.
You know
and Chill too. Shout out Chill.
Yeah, you know, they some good cats, man. And one thing I do think is cool is that stuff did get resolved. And I'm still waiting to hear that 8 and DJ Quik album.
Man, that'd be dope.
That collaboration, you know what I mean? I think it would be dope.
Yeah.
I think it would be dope. And I think right about now is something that we definitely could make happen. I think the world is still ready for that.
Hell yeah.
You know, I think the world is still ready for that. And they also ready to hear some new music from High C. Why do you wait so long in between songs, man, to put out projects?
Man, you know what? Like, we do songs, man, and at the time the shit just be right. I could play you some shit right now we got that ain't nobody heard. A few things that ain't nobody heard that people would be like, man, what the fuck you doing? It's dope as fuck, and this and this and that. And sometimes we just work on shit and just put it to the side, or it never come out, or start working on some new shit. Like, you know, Norm, you know how the good shit, you been in the studio.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny, man, about that is, like, when we put Let Me Know out, that record was 4 years old already.
Yeah.
And the music is so good, it's timeless.
Yep.
It doesn't have no time stamps on it or nothing like that, to where you can hear one of your records 4 years from now and it'll still sound current. And I believe that's because you guys are such great musicians.
Appreciate that.
It's music, and it's not tied into no trendy shit. It's not tied into no stuff that's going on. It's like you guys always recreating your own thing.
That's, man, we do, man. And that record, that particular record you talking about, man, we was sitting in Quik living room and just fucking around. This nigga in his boxers And we over there just fucking around with some shit. He comfortable, we at the house chilling, and we just start fucking around. And everybody hear that song and be like, man, is that a sample off of, is it Roger? Is it they think it's Zapp or somebody, or Roger Troutman or whatever the fuck they think it is. But no, this is some shit that nigga did, like straight, just genius thinking. And this, me coming up with the hooks or whatever and ideas. That's one thing I love about the clique. We always threw shit at each other. Lines, hooks, choruses, like when you a group, you're like, man, I don't know, say this or do this, or what you think about that? Like, nah, we ain't doing that like that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just always that good, like, camaraderie, you know what I mean? Like, just team effort of putting out some good shit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I don't think when people mention top producers, a lot of people on the West always mention Quik's name in their top 5, but a lot of people outside the West, they always name Dr. Dre and a few other people. But Quik is not just a great producer; he's also a great engineer, also a great songwriter. He does everything well.
Everything. Yeah,
he does everything well, because a lot of them hooks y'all have on them records to be him singing. A lot of people don't know that.
They don't know that nigga can sing. Like the old Richard Pryor said, nigga have to sing to get some pussy.
Man, so I want to ask you about a few people in the crew, man. How did Mossberg, rest in peace, come into the fold? I want to hear the whole story. How do y'all meet?
Man, Mossberg, man, Baby Berg, man, that's my dude. I miss Mossberg. Mossberg came into the fold. Black Tone had the shop, the baseball card store. And Black always keep a couple of businesses here. He had the beauty salon, this store, Black always was getting that check. So he came up there, and I don't know if it was one of the homies from Campanella, somebody bought him up there or whatever, and he had a little demo, man, and I never forget, it was off of Michael Jackson. The doom 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 doom. What is that?
Smooth Criminal.
Smooth Criminal, and he did a song off of that. And you got to know, Mossberg is like 6'5". Norman, what was he? 6'4", 6'5".
Mossberg was like my size.
Yep. 290, almost in at 3, a big boy, you know what I'm saying? Like big, intimidating, but young though. And he was like, and serious as fuck. And I just like how he was serious. And he went by Johnny Burns. And he had this song, something is the Johnny Burns is the realest, like he just changed it all up. And I was kind of like, man, this nigga, man, I fuck with him, because out of all the shit you could have sampled or what you did, he took Michael Jackson and did the shit off of Michael Jackson, but looking like serious, like, yeah, I did Michael Jackson. That's how Mossberg was. Like, yeah, I did Michael Jackson, what's up? And the nigga ain't gonna say nothing to him, shit, like, you know what I'm saying, like, cause that nigga's about his shit, you know what I'm saying. And I kind of used to smirk, like, my nigga did Michael Jackson, but Mossberg was hard as fuck. So we kind of, I took a liking to him since then. I love him. Like, man, he was like down to like say, cause I'm the type of nigga, I like Michael Jackson too. Like, my cousin and his girlfriend got in my car, one of my cars and shit. I do the car shit too. So I got a car business or whatever. I got my own dealership, like shit. So I be in all kind of shit. So they got in one of my cars, and I had a Michael Jackson CD in there, and they fell out laughing because they thinking like, oh, like Crawford ain't gonna never listen to Michael Jackson. He's supposed to listen to, this was years ago, like, oh, all the hard shit. I'm like, nigga, that's one of the best sounding albums, one of the best.
Yeah, it is. Everybody loves Michael.
Yeah, hell yeah. So I'm like, why in the fuck wouldn't I listen to Michael Jackson? So by Mossy doing that, I was like, nigga, go ahead, let's see what you got. And then we just took him in and just grew a liking to him.
Yeah, for sure. And he got behind them quick beats, and the rest is history.
That shit history after that.
But actually, y'all did more songs together than anybody else, right?
Yeah, me and Mossy did. We didn't get a chance to do all of the songs. Like I said, we got shit that ain't even came out or whatever and shit, but we do so much shit, Norm. We get in there and just get to working, bro. And then when shit get divvied up, or we want to put this on this album, do this on that album, like, shit, that's how I go.
Because he was on his way, man, and then he was murdered on the 4th of July weekend, correct?
Yep.
Am I correct? How did that impact the whole camp?
It fucked everybody up, bro. Until this day, I really Don't go nowhere on the 4th of July. I can't get this shit out of my head. Like I don't even like to go nowhere on the 4th, bro.
Yeah, I remember when it was 4th of July and I started running with y'all. I remember Black Tone had called me and said, "Hey, where you at?" He said, "I'm at the crib." He said, "You should probably stay there." He said, "Don't go nowhere on the 4th. To this day, I don't think none of y'all go nowhere on the 4th of July.
Yeah, but I just don't. My spirit be down. I don't know. It's just, don't get me wrong. I like the Independence Day and like the kids and shit. Some of them don't even know the backstory. They too young or whatever. But it still bothers me to this day, man. And if I come out on the 4th, it's a rare occasion that I come out on the 4th. I just like to chill, you know, because you in LA and shit, and it's with us. It could be fireworks, and it could be a blammer. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? It could be a grenade. Niggas out here be on some bullshit. So
Yeah,
it could
for
be.
real.
You don't know what the fuck going on.
Now, who came in? Sugar Free came in before Mossberg, right?
Yeah, shit. Free came in before Mossberg.
So now that's the one I want to know. How did y'all discover Sugar Free? Who discovered Sugar Free?
Man, I'm gonna tell you like this. Black Tone had Sugar Free, and Sugar Free was Royal Rock or the Pure Pimp, and he had man, I can't think of my boy that was producing, but it was Tone people was producing him. Had a different producer, and just to be real, like Black and Quik wasn't really speaking at the time, wasn't seeing eye to eye or whatever, and I got at Black. I'm like, man, I like Sugar Free. And he was like, yeah, this and this and that. So Tone did a couple songs on him and they was working on shit. And, you know, like Tone, we all from the same neighborhood or whatever. So I was going back to Quik and I was like, man, Quik, you need to hear this shit, this Sugar Free shit. And I don't, he heard it and he was like, oh yeah, it sound kind of cool. It remind me of like the homie, you know, like Earl shit, like 40. And he was like, yeah, got that vibe. He was like, I was like, yeah, it's like, no, you really need to hear this nigga get down and sing. So, not trying to take the credit to toot my own horn, but I got them niggas kind of like squash their differences and settle it out. Quik ended up coming to Black Tone mom's house in Compton and start working on free shit right there. Them niggas got a vibe and it just kind of took off ever since then. Changed his name to Sugar Free. And I told the story before though about the get your money while you bullshit, and that was done in my studio in North Hollywood and shit.
That's what I was gonna ask you about.
Yeah. Quik was in my shower. He said he was in my shower and he heard my pipes. You know how the pipes when you turn them off they go click, 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 click.
Yeah.
And he said the pipes was going gloop 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 gloop. The nigga hopped out my shower and you know I've got showers and a couple showers in the spot or whatever. So I'm in my shit just doing me or whatever. And I got equipment everywhere so we can just get up and rock. Because I kept the North Hollywood studio spot so motherfuckers don't come to where I lay my head at with my family and how, you know. You know how that shit
For
go.
sure.
I don't want to know everybody, you know.
For sure.
In there. So I kept that shit up there like that. Quik jump out the shower. Bling, 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 bling. Bling, 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 bling. Bloom, 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 bloom. And when he started working with that shit, bro, I said, God damn, I almost fucked up, no, because I told Quik, I was like, nigga, don't give that shit to nobody. That's your new shit. You back, you know, this the new, you back on. And he was like, just rocking with, you know, Quik could go over a beat. You'll hear that motherfucker rocking for 48 hours straight. Like, and then and I'm just bobbing my head to it like, this shit is hard. Like, this the shit. So the nigga Free came over. And he said some shit, a couple of lines. I can tell you 30 times how to pimp you a hoe. I can tell you 30 more and you still won't know, nigga. You want to overuse the Man, this nigga started saying this shit. Me and Quik looked at each other like, hell no, this nigga beat. Like he gonna kill,
to
he
this
gonna
day.
kill this shit
You
right out
drop
the
that
crib.
record in the club today,
Yeah.
it still goes off.
Yeah.
Like it's back in the 90s.
Blam, 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 blam. Yep.
It still goes off. So y'all got all this stuff going on, man, and that and I think that's a big thing. A lot of fans want to know. And I say we, because I was around during them times. We could have had one of the most powerful crews of all time, because everybody was on, dog.
Hell yeah, we still can. All what niggas have to do is put their differences to the side and just power up and just do the shit. Like, it's easy to do shit when you doing it with a crew and you ain't got to lay 3 verses on your song. You get what I'm saying? You record on them, you know this shit still. If I got to do 3 verses, I got to sit there and write 3 verses to a song. But if I'm doing a song like I put you on my album, I'm going to do the first verse, Big Steel going to do the second one, and Free or Quik might do the, you know what I'm saying, the second to none, or AMG might come and do this, and it makes the shit easier. And then, like I said, we get to exchange ideas and bounce shit off of each other and shit like we always do.
Because at one time, I know Quik was doing some stuff with Death Row because he had his situation with Priority Records, Profile.
Yeah.
Was it Profile?
Yeah, he was with Profile, and I think he was making the transition from Profile to Arista or something like that with Clive.
Yeah, and they wasn't letting him release no music.
Yeah, it was something going on. I ain't gonna sit here and lie about it. I don't remember exactly what was going on, but it was a transition between Profile and then Arista with Clyde Davis. He was signed, you know.
Because I know what I was gonna ask about is he was doing a lot of stuff with Death Row at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
He was doing some stuff with Death Row. And I know we can speak on it or we cannot speak on it, but you know, this is the Gangster Chronicles. We got to ask about it. At one time, and I ain't gonna say what it was behind and everything, but one time y'all wound up outside them gates of Death Row Records.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it was because of you that didn't go down. You saw somebody that knew you and they was like, Croft, what the hell going on? And y'all was cool, but you was the reason why it didn't really go as bad as it could have.
I'm gonna say part of the reason why, but you know, when we went up there, man, it was just a lot of fucking like tempers was flaring. And honestly, man, we went up there and it was like, it was one of those things to where like if it would have been like a car backfiring or anything, like a nigga would have shot a firework off, the shit could have went real left, Norman. Shit could have went bad, homie, because niggas was up there strapped up. Niggas was up there, and then we found out later out there, I heard, I don't know if that's true, but some niggas was on the roof.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard
know
they
what I'm
had
saying?
cats on the roof and everything else.
So we was on the outside of the gate, you know, Black Tone for sure. A couple of the homies, I don't even want to get on, you know, if they want their names.
Oh no, we
out
ain't gonna
there.
put their names out there.
But we
like
was
that.
out there with the Hoovers, with the Groove. The Groove was with us on our side, and then we was looking on the other side of the gate, and it was some of the homies too. So when the homies seen me, he was like, "Bro, man, what's up, man?" He said, "Man, I'm up here and I don't even know what the fuck going on. They just called me." And I said, "Yeah, shit, we just got the call too." Like, you know what I'm saying? You know when niggas get that call. So we there and shit. And man, dude, like, I don't know. It was just one of them things to like, bro, we the same type of niggas, you know what I'm saying? So we not gonna be pressed. We not trying to press, but we the same type of motherfuckers. So we want to see what's happening. Like, what's good? Is niggas, do we have to squabble up? Cause I'm looking for the nigga my size. You know, I'm there. I'm probably like one of the shortest niggas there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get down with him. I remember one of the homies from the Groove. I think his name was Boo. He wanted to get down with Buntry. Cause this nigga about the same size, and I just like how the shit was going as far as that aspect of it. Like, it wasn't no like, oh, I'm looking for the weakest link, or I'm trying to pick on the littlest nigga type of shit. And then niggas had, you know, strapped up shit in they waistbands, and it could have got crazy, Norm. But niggas just really kind of knew, like, okay, you fucking with some real niggas. They know we some real niggas, and we gonna figure this shit out and straighten it out. And we end up getting that shit straight, bro. But it could have went left. That was a real story. Like, people talking about the shit online, but it was a real story. Like,
yeah, it was a real story, and you know, we ain't got to mention a whole bunch of people's names and stuff like that. But I know it could have went down. That was a scary time. Oh
yeah, for sure. And I'm talking about broad daylight, man. And they was saying that the police was driving by, and them motherfuckers wouldn't even stop. They was scared. Like, they looked at the shit and was like, like,
so it was it was all out in the middle of the street like that?
It was by the gates, you know, in Wilshire. It was by the gate. You know where the old Death Row shit used to be?
Yeah, for sure.
Because we used to go to Death Row. Like, niggas talk all the Death Row shit, but nigga, if you wasn't going to the Death Row that was on the train tracks, I think that was the Can-Am or whatever studio that was, the Red Room, we done been all up through the motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? So if niggas wasn't doing that back then, they wasn't really doing the Death Row shit.
Yeah, and I know, for the record, Tone and Suge did make peace eventually. It was all good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was all good.
Man,
afterwards.
I'm gonna say this, bro, and I never really said this shit on camera, but Suge is a cool nigga, bro. Like, one thing about Suge, he will go straighten your situation out. He will go figure out what's going on. A good nigga. And he, like always niggas used to be like, hey man, call Fat Boy. Fat Boy, that's what, the little nickname, or niggas before that called him Simon or whatever, because Simon said to do something, them niggas to do it or whatever. But Suge was always a cool, like me and Suge always had the best relationship, because he big old nigga, and he always said, what's up little nigga? Like when we was at the gate, when the shit was about to go down, the nigga came out the gate, it came to me and tapped me on my stomach, like I guess he was checking to see what kind of strap a nigga had or whatever. But what's up, little nigga? I'm like, what's up, man? What's the fuck going on? Why we got all this shit going on? We from the same, niggas is homies and shit, So, but he always been a good nigga. Now the thing is, to me, this is just my opinion, Norm. If you borrow something from Suge, if you asking Suge for money, or you trying to come up on Suge, or you trying to get it, to me, if you asking for something, that's when the shit get a little bit tricky, because Suge is the type of say, hey, I'm gonna put you in the studio, or I'm gonna give you, you need you need 50,000 to go do this and this and that. That nigga might slide it to you. But he want his bread back. He want his bread back, and the first time he call you and he say, hey, we doing this Oprah Winfrey show, and you need to come perform. Oh man, I'm down at my car ain't working and this and that. All right, blood. Nigga, when you get up there again, you might get the shit slapped out of you.
But that's just man shit though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you making a deal with a nigga that ain't fucking around or playing no games. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you gotta definitely know what it is you dealing with.
Yeah,
and that's just man shit, Croft. You borrow money from any cat. And
I ain't necessarily saying borrow money, but I'm just saying if you ask him for something,
and he go deliver for you.
Yeah, he gonna deliver, so he expect the same in return, bro. And that's the only thing I seen with Suge. That's just, once again, my assessment of it and shit. I
think that's most people's assessment from what I'm hearing, because I'm hearing that anybody that did have a problem with Suge, when you check the backstory, they don't got money from him. They don't try to take advantage of him somehow, and he just wasn't going for it.
Oh, not at all.
And to be honest with you, the way the music industry is designed, you need a Suge Knight and you need a Tony Lane around.
Hell yeah.
And I want to touch on Black Tone a little bit, because Tone don't never really get the credit he deserves as far as being an executive.
Yeah.
Because at one time he had the hottest label in the streets.
Hell yeah. And no, I ain't. Once again, I'm doing the interview, but bro, I'm not tooting my own horn. But Tone was like more of a dude that was getting it. He had his own businesses in the 80s, bro, like them car shops and all this shit. Tone do business like he was a businessman in the beginning. But the nigga was street, how Tone was like, shit, like they called him Osama Bin Laden. That's Black.
Osama, yep. Osama.
Black had businesses. He wasn't even thinking about the record shit. And I used to always tell him, he was like, Croft, man, fuck this music shit, man. I don't want to be dealing with all these weird, how Tone say everybody, these old buster ass, how Tone say, man, I ain't dealing with all these buster ass weird niggas and shit like that, man. Fuck them niggas. And I'm like, Black, you got too much influence out here on these streets, homie. You gotta do something. And he was like, man, Croft, I don't feel like dealing with, I'm gonna end up slapping the shit out. I told him, blood, I'm gonna slap the shit out of one of these niggas. They keep on playing with me. I said, Tone, nah, bro. And I was the one that knowing I was in the nigga ear.
Well, that's why I'm asking you about it, Croft, because for y'all that don't know out there, Croft should have been named the Fixer. A lot of situations that got resolved, a lot of situations that got fixed was him behind the scenes really convincing somebody not to make that next move or to make that next move.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's just how I am in my heart, bro. I feel like, peace, I'm a nigga about this shit, but if I can bring peace or squat some shit or just some stupid shit, did this nigga say something about your mama? No, that nigga ain't say nothing about your mama, knowing that the nigga did. I'm just that type of nigga that'll try to dead the shit before it escalate. But I was pushing the line, Black, you need to do this. So he end up just getting into the shit. And that's how the sugar-free, Mossberg.
Was it ever a time, man, that Laneway and Death Row almost got linked up in any kind of way? Was there ever some talks of that?
Man, you know what? I like Black and Suge used to talk. Them niggas was cool, whatever. Black and Suge used to talk, and I don't even know if I was. I think Black told me. I don't even know if I remember the whole story, but Black told me I was kind of like one of the first ones to kind of get them to talk, because we heard something. I forgot what Suge had or something, Black, and I'm like, man, it's Suge, and he was like, man, who, and this and this and that, and knowing that his people stayed on the east side or whatever, and the twins and all that. I don't know how the shit went, but we always was in the mix with each other, and I think they used to talk about trying to do something together, and like when you deal with two motherfuckers that's just the juggernauts of their era, they gonna respect each other like gentlemen. You know, real niggas move like gentlemen and shit. They don't be on no all that. But I think they always had the thing of like, I'm gonna do my shit over here. This is my empire, and Suge had his empire already, and that's kind of how it always been. But I knew it was kind of probably some talks of like Suge always be like, man, BT, you know, I'd be like, BT, blood, come over here with me, and this and that shit. And like, I don't know, but I know it was some talks, but I don't know how far that shit went.
Yeah, sometimes two gorillas can't sit in the same room. No.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes it just don't happen like that, man. And I know it was a lot of success throughout the years, man. What's the biggest moment that you remember, man, just music-wise from the whole crew? What's the biggest moment?
Man, one of the biggest moments I could say that was like just to me, that was dope. Like it was just a moment, man. It was like, God damn, this shit is like live. When we did the Summer Jam or one of them, I think it was Summer Jam, and El DeBarge came out. You ever seen that footage, the old footage of it?
Yeah.
And we was all out, and it was just like, you look to the back of the crowd, you couldn't stop seeing motherfuckers. That's how many people was there, where it was just waves and waves and waves of people. It was just waves of motherfuckers. And it was like, when they came out, they knew all of the high C shit. They knew all of the second to none shit. They knew all of the AMG shit. Of course, they knew all the Quik shit. And then they didn't even think that a nigga would bring out El DeBarge. And when El DeBarge came out, it was like, I swear I saw girls in the crowd naked. That's what I thought I saw. I ain't gonna lie. Those bitches was throwing their panties on. Like, this shit was crazy. And it was like one of those moments to where, and Norm, you know how I move, man. Most of the time I be by myself or whatever, but I'm always humble, and I really feel like it's a blessing and a continued blessing to be in the game like that, you know, to make it. I feel like, I tell people sometimes it's like hitting the lotto. If you hit the lotto, you in this shit. A lot of motherfuckers, dope motherfuckers, never made it.
Oh, for sure.
Never made it. Just like playing ball, the baddest motherfuckers don't make it because them niggas probably can't read, or they got to get some system that they made. Those niggas got to have an A+, a B average or whatever.
And
which to me is kind of,
some people just don't want to abide by the bullshit, because whenever you in music, sports, it's a lot of bullshit behind the scenes to go on.
It is, bro. And to me, sometimes I think it's the way to level the playing field. Like, why I got to be a scholar if I know how to shoot this ball, or I know how to, do hoop, write this song? I don't need to be getting no straight A. I don't need to know rocket science to do this shit. You know what I mean? I do what I do good. Now, don't be no fucking dummy and let people rip you off and take your money. But to me, it was like, okay, I'm not going to let him get this scholarship because he didn't carry this particular grade average. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But he dope as fuck. So now here come the motherfucker with less talent, might be a white boy, that's like, okay, you can get this, because you're a scholar, you're an A student, but you can't hoop like him. But hey, it's a spot for you. So you know how shit go, man.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things I will say about Black Tone, we got a habit of black people always talking about the negative that somebody do right. But Black Tone, man, like I said, he got me my first check as far as my first placement. You got me my first piece of money, coming into business and everything, and taking me out on the road and everything. And all.
You know what they asked me about, Nora?
What's that?
The Malibu's Most Wanted. Is that big still in there when you was on the movie?
Yeah, you got me in there.
I put you in there.
Shout out to Crawford. I went up there and I never will forget that day. I went up there with you.
Yeah.
On some hanging out stuff. You was like, Norm, you might well audition.
Yeah. And
that's when they had us go in the room kind of battling each other.
Yeah.
And we got to go in there, and I went in there and watched Chingy's ass.
Yeah.
Because Chingy was in there. He was talking about some bing, 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 bing. And
I don't even remember Chingy being there. Yeah, Shout out Chingy. That's my boy, man. I love Chingy.
Yeah, Chingy was up there, man.
Lou.
Thank God I wound up getting that feature, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Getting that moment. That was a nice little check attached to that we still getting to this day.
Hell yeah, we still get that check.
We still get them checks.
That's some funny shit, huh?
Yeah. To this day, man, we get them checks, man. It was a bunch of cats up there that day.
But that's how I am, man. If I can make some bread, I'm going to break bread with the homies. That's how I be, like,
Yeah, for sure, man. And I want to go back because I think we got to talk about this, man. You and Tony A. Now, y'all link up at the Rhodium. That's where y'all first met, right?
That's where we met, at the Rhodium, yeah.
When did y'all start making records together?
Man, I'm going to be honest. When I seen Tony, start scratching and mixing, and he knew his shit, because when you look at Tone, it's especially back then, I'm like, I don't know if this motherfucker know, like, do he really, like, you know how, like, we was young, you know how you size a motherfucker up, just like this shit with the street shit. Like, you can see how a nigga walk or how he move or how he act. Like, okay, this is a real one. Okay, he cool. This nigga ain't even affiliated. Like, kind of like that. So I kind of just looked at him and I was like, I don't know if he really, you know, got it. You know what I'm saying? So the motherfucker start mixing and doing this little shit. I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker dope. And he knew how to blend records and he was scratching and shit. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm gonna fuck with him. And we just started recording, man. And I went to Wilmington, went to his house. And we just took it from there, man. We just kind of built a relationship.
Oh, he was from Wilmington.
Yeah.
So he was from a real, because at that time Wilmington wasn't nothing to be played with.
Still ain't. Yeah.
You know, Wilmington the city. You know,
the Weemas. Yeah. So for sure, like, we was out there doing shit, and we just took it from there, bro. It was like, he impressed me, bro, like with some of his mixing skills and like the shit he could do with scratching and this and that, and then his producing, and he just had a knowledge of where to get all of like the oldie type of hits and shit. And I was kind of like the first one that, because my thing is like, I like to paint pictures and tell stories and shit like that. So he was the type that would find this, like, okay, let's just do this or this and this to go good with that, and just putting shit together on the mixtapes. And also, like, when that motherfucker was doing the mixtapes, that's when, you know, he got Ice Cube, I think, to get out on one. Dre, Eazy-E, the one we did with Eazy-E. Like, man, everybody, like you said, that was coming here looking for vinyl and shit like that.
You know what? Crazy thing about that Croft is you always had a really, really huge Mexican audience.
Yeah.
You know, like Pac said, it wouldn't be LA without the Mexicans. So shout out to all the Mexican homies.
Yeah, for sure.
That's out there doing their thing. And I think something that was real genius that you did, you know, Mexicans love the oldies.
Yeah.
They love the oldies. Well, most G cats love oldies, right?
Yeah.
What made y'all decide to sample I'm Not Your Puppet, man? Whose idea was that?
Man, I think we started off doing that shit on the mixtape, and the reaction and the response that we got from that shit, from the mixtape version of it, it was like, it was automatic. It was like, we got to do this on the record and go in the studio and do it professionally. And we did it at Audio Achievements. I think it was Donovan's studio.
Donovan.
Yeah, we did
all
that's
NWA
where
shit.
NWA was doing their shit at, and they had the top notch equipment. And I got to look at some of Dr. Dre shit and seeing that Dre. I seen what you was doing, Dre, years ago. This nigga had, and I could tell it now because I know Dre ain't even tripping, but he had an 808 that was midied up. And if people don't understand, you don't understand, don't even think about it, but a MIDI cable to a fucking 808. And I'm like, this dude is not playing. Like, every time that 808 hit, it's coming right out the machine. It was fresh. I'm like, that's how they should be sounding so cracking. But we went in there to record I'm Not Your Puppet and came out with that sound. That's why it sound like sonically clear and shit like that. It was like one of those records that everybody was like, man, when it's coming out, we had to do it. So shot the video at the Rhodium. It was just automatic.
That's dope, dog. You think that's your biggest record to date?
I think it is, bro. I really think it is. I really think that's like, you know, one of the biggest records today that I did. And just, you know, all the features that we did on each other's shit. Like on Quik album, we got a medley for a V. Like me and Snoop was on there. AMG, like all of us Elder Bars, like them records like people don't hardly know about. But I was just thinking about that the other day, like all the features that we did with different motherfuckers, man. It's like we got so much shit, bro.
Yeah, we definitely, man. What I'm gonna do, everybody, I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go over Croft's house one day and I'm gonna go in the vault, y'all, and I'm gonna steal all them songs he got that he don't want nobody to hear, because I'm gonna tell y'all he got some heaters in there.
Man, for sure.
Are we ever gonna get any more high C music?
Man, you know what? I really be feeling like, you know, when I get that itch, Norm, you know how we Geminis and shit. Get that itch, man, and that shit turn on and you get that creative juice. You just might, man.
Well, that's one thing about shit. You not gonna put a record out before it's time, and you just don't go in the studio for the sake of going in the studio.
Hell no, because I ain't pressed like that. Like, to me, when you pressing and you trying to do this and you gimmicky and you want to do, I gotta do this or I gotta do that, or motherfuckers that try to bait motherfuckers into a battle and shit. I never been that type of motherfucker. Oh, did he say something about me, or was he dissing me? I gotta diss him. Like, all that old bullshit to me. And if that's how you live, don't get me wrong, that's more power to you. But I don't fuck around like that. I do it when that shit feel good and it feel natural. Like, let me get in here and this is what I feel like doing at the time.
Yeah, for real, man. And you always been consistent with that too.
Yeah.
Always been consistent with that. I remember when I came with my first album, and I let you hear, you was like, Norman, you only got one time to put your first record out. You need to do this and that over again.
Yeah.
I was mad, but I went back and
you did, man. And I appreciate you, Norman, for that.
I
I remember that shit like yesterday. You called me, you was like, Crop, I got 10 songs. I'm ready. I'm like, Norm, hold on.
Yeah,
you're going to do 10 songs 3 times before. You're going to do 10 songs 5 times. You're going to have 50 of them motherfuckers before. And then you call me back. You remember what you said? You was like, yeah, Crop, you right, because I don't even like that other shit I did. So I'm like, you should hear this new shit. And I'm like, damn, Norm got some shit.
Yeah, I did, man. You know what? That's one of my biggest regrets, dog, is I think when you're younger, you get in the race for time.
Yeah.
Especially when you start hitting that 29, 30-year-old mark. You get to kind of like thinking, man, I need to put this out before I get too old, because you know hip-hop, man, is a young man's game.
Yeah, it is.
But now you got brothers like Hov, he 50-something. He's still out there tearing down microphones.
Yeah.
You got the Wu-Tang class. They still putting out music.
Shit,
and you know, some of them acting. I think it come to a thing, man, when you get older, you start expressing your creativity in different ways.
Because the growth.
Yeah, it's growth. It's like
growth. Yeah,
it's like I don't have no desire now to put out no records or nothing like that, dude. I think this is my thing right now. I like creating content.
No, that's dope. And you smashing this shit, Norm. I'm like, I tell everybody, man, still got this shit cracking. But to me, Norm, let me just say this or ask you a question. Like, I understand why people retire in sports, so they want them to retire because your reflexes, your quick twitch muscles and shit like that, you can lose, you lose mobility, you get injured, you can fuck yourself up. In a music game or the hip hop game or any genre of music, like, why do we have to retire because we seasoned now? I ain't gonna even say old or we veterans, because
shouldn't have to.
My throat didn't get, like, I speak well. I feel like I'm intelligent enough to make songs. I can do this, I can still create, so I ain't got to go out here and jump or slam dunk or run no motherfucking 4.2 in the 40 or do whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? So why do they put this label on us as hip hop? Like, we got to do that. I know the attention span and the lifespan of some of the hip hop shit is short, but you look at bands like the Stones or Chicago.
They still doing their thing up into their 70s.
And motherfuckers love them, bro.
I can answer it for you, Croft, right now. You know what I believe it is, bro? I think it's something that within our people, our culture, right? Black people don't respect, I'm trying to find the right word. They don't respect maturity almost. Because if you look at the average brother today that's online, some of these guys online, these dudes anywhere from 40 to 55 years old acting like little kids. Yeah. They acting like they 20, 19, 18-year-olds. And I almost think that's an insult to the younger generation, because
is, bro.
Some of these people is more immature than my 5-year-old niece.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? They act like on a level, they almost like borderline. If you looked at them, you would say, man, are these people retarded? Yeah. Because that's just what they do. You got a lot of people, and I think us as black people, man, it always come back to the Willie Lynch stuff. We hate to see the next man shine rather than applauding. Which is crazy to me, rather than applauding, because theoretically, I think the older people get, the better they bars get. They've seen more. Yeah, they've been around the world.
Exactly.
They got more experience.
Exactly.
So I think that's why now you go probably hear some of Jay-Z's best music. You hear some of, what's that kid's name? He ain't a kid, but he an older dude, man. I think he was signed to Rock Nation. Man, that dude is a beast, though. I can't think of his name. He only put out one album. But that dude is in his 50s, man, and he raw. Yeah. Look at Sugar Free. Yeah. Sugar Free, damn near.
Free gonna always bust your
Sugar
head.
Free almost got a resurgence going now. Yeah. And Sugar Free in his 50s. Yeah. And he's nasty, man. To me, it should always be about your music, man.
Yeah, your boy Titty Boy that made it, Titty Boy.
2 Chainz.
Yeah, 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz, another brother that if he ain't in his 50s, he's up there. And I think, man, what it is that you just got to create a character. Like Snoop Dogg is probably the biggest rapper of all time. Brand-wise,
Snoop, my nigga too.
You know,
man.
everybody knows Snoop is, and Snoop ain't no spring chicken, but he's gonna forever be able to go on stage and make music, I think, because he's always stayed in character.
Yeah.
I think that's all you gotta do is just stay in your character. Too Short,
yeah.
I was listening to Too Short when I was 16 to 17 years old. Too Short still making the same music and might fuck around and have a hit record on your ass.
And Short Dog is dope, man. It's E-40 the same way. We was on the road with them when we was going out, man, and watching 40 and Short, man, like sing their songs and the whole crowd respond and know word for word. And then I'm sitting up here looking at E-40, his features and shit. Like, he got all this shit, the timer shit and all that. But then he jump on the shit with I Don't Fuck With You, like all this new shit.
Yeah.
And it's like he touching both worlds, you know what I'm saying? Same thing with Short when he was doing the shit, you know, what he was doing, the collaborations and the features and shit. Like, people fuck with him, like, just off the rip, bro. Like, it's crazy how they gravitate towards them dudes, man.
Well, I think what's happening now, man, is that you're getting a resurgence because you got a lot of younger kids, the cats that's in their 20s, 20, 25 years old, 26, they grew up listening to that. That's what they grew up. So now they got an opportunity to collab with one of their favorite artists. And I think that's how it's going because 40 still got bars. You can't tell me E-40 can't rap no more because he 55 years old or whatever. What
That's
the fuck
what I'm
difference
saying.
do that
So
make?
why the time limit? What? I don't get that shit, bro.
And
like
I
a
think
nigga voice ain't slowed down. My throat's still good.
Yeah, and
Pause.
I think it should be a personal choice, man, because I still write raps for a lot of people. I don't, you know, of course, I can't just put it out there and say who it is necessarily because you got to keep stuff on the low. But I write a lot of stuff, and I actually write my dopest stuff now.
Yeah.
It's like because I've been more places, man. I've experienced more things, and I'm talking from a place of what I know versus when I was, you know, when I was broke, I was talking about having money.
Hell yeah.
That I've never seen, and now I get a little bit of change.
No, man, you done went to Japan and shit together. You done been on the other side of the motherfucking earth.
Oh, for sure, and have experienced some things that's gonna stay over there in Japan. You know what I'm saying?
Don't talk about this shit, Norm.
No,
leave that
some
shit.
stuff we don't need to talk about, dog. Some stuff we don't need to talk about, but I know Japan. The thing about Japan, man, is they treat you like you a god over there.
Hell yeah.
We went over there, man. They was treating Crawford like Crawford. You was getting treated like a king over there, man.
It's crazy. And they like the second album I did was like really like one of the big albums over there that they fuck with. And I appreciate it. I'm ready to go back now when y'all ready, bro.
Well,
Been to China, you know, China as well. China got some shit too.
Oh, for sure. But one of the things I'm gonna start doing, bro, we gonna start doing over here at Digital Soapbox is we got a streaming network coming, a 24-hour music channel that's coming out like, I think we launched in September, late September, early October. One of the things we doing, it's going to be kind of like MTV was, but it's going to be all hip-hop and rap.
Okay.
You know, we're going to be showing our podcasts on there. We got original series we doing. But one of the things that I am bringing back, man, is we going to start shooting music videos to classic songs. We actually go get artists, and we got a couple of people that's re-recording classic albums. Like we got 8. He's gonna re-record Straight Up Menace.
Yeah, you
know the album.
Yeah,
he's gonna record that album. And one of the things we talked about doing was like taking a song like "Growing Up in the Hood" that's a classic, and putting Scarface on there. And shooting a whole new video for it and just bringing it to these whole new generation because a classic is going to always be a classic. It don't matter.
That's something timeless, bro.
It's going to always be timeless. And one of the things I always go holler at you about is redoing one of your classic albums.
That's easy, bro.
Same music, doing the thing, but just getting different features on there, different look. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be dope, man.
That's easy to do because I got my own masters. You know, I own them shit. So, but Norm, this is what I want to do. When you do that, I want to be the anchor on the video shit. You know, MTV used to have, I forgot my man's name, used to be the anchor. He used to be on everything and be like, this is the videos and tune in at this and this.
I'm for sure. Go
Let
ahead.
me be the anchor on this shit.
For sure. I got you as anchor on there. I've been telling you, Craw, everything I do, you included in on, bro.
Man, let's rock.
You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate you coming down to sit down with me today, dog. Y'all don't know this interview done been a long time in the making, but Crawford really is a busy guy. He's a busy guy, got a lot of businesses going on. We got car dealership, different stuff like that, man. A lot of stuff going on. So y'all be on the lookout, man, because he like the Loch Ness Monster. He only come out of the water every few years, but I'm going to try to pull him out a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm going to come out a little bit more.
Yeah, for
when
sure.
I'm fucking with, family, my loved ones, I can come out and be safe, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I know you don't got no social media channel, so I guess when people see you, they just run into you.
Yep.
For sure. I don't got no social media to give y'all for my guy. Y'all just, so I don't know. Y'all get at him, I guess, on the Gangster Chronicles page or whatever.
Hell yeah.
On the Digital
And then you're going to
Soapbox.
relay the message. It's going to be some good messages.
And I'll relay the message, man. So is there anything out there that you want to leave to the people, man, before we jump up off of here, man?
Man, honestly, bro, I like to hear new shit. I like to hear a new vision, a new direction of shit. So what I want to say to just this shit right here, man, as far as like the music and the streets, and I'm starting to notice that the streets are more tied into the music now, and it's more like, you know, like I hear the term that they use, and it's not our term, but the gang. You ever heard them say that shit? No.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you gang. Mm-hmm. Like we don't say that shit out here, and it's not no knock on it or whatever, but we used to hit niggas up like, hey, nigga, where you from? You bang? You bang. Or you gang, same shit, whatever. But I'm starting to see a lot of that shit is entwined into the culture, man. And it's just one of those things to where you got to really, to me, be about that shit and know what you're doing before you start doing all this shit, bro. And if you're not really about that, like, you don't need to fuck with that to be up. You got dudes like J. Cole, that's to me like a cool niggas that rap their ass off, that's doing very well without saying, hey, I'm from blank, 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 or I'm affiliated with this. You got dudes that's in the shit, like the homie from the neighborhood, but he about that shit. YG, that's the homie. You know what I'm saying? We're from the same neighborhood or whatever, but he about that shit. Those are two different artists on two different paths, but you could tell that this dude is about his shit because that's what he talk about. J. Cole is about that shit, and that's what he talk about. So to me, I want dudes to find a lane. I wish they would find a lane. Don't just talk about the same shit. How many times we gonna be in the street? How many times we gonna do this? How many times? I want to hear some new shit. I want to hear some shit like when Wu-Tang came out, and it was just like a crew of motherfuckers doing something different. They took the karate shit and made a whole motherfucking career out of it.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
You get what I'm saying?
You know what's funny about you saying that? I was telling somebody the other day is, when don't we go get another Bone Thugs and Harmony?
There you go, Bone. I remember when Eazy-E had Bone.
Yeah, you know, just somebody that come out with something that's so different.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
I'm waiting on that shit, Norm. That's what I'm like. So I want to close with kind of with that shit. And I'm really surprised at how, and it's no knock, because a nigga from where he from, we did the whole street shit or whatever. Like you said, we on grown man and business shit now. But I'm surprised at how, like, they making this street shit so, like, acceptable, and it's cool and this and that, and it's just so, like, to me it's kind of like watered down or sugar coated, like just like the gang shit, like that's, well, you know, and then it reaches out of California. Like I don't want that shit to be out in the South. I don't want that shit to be on the East Coast. I don't want that shit to be.
For real, I feel you, man.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And no, and don't get me wrong, because this motherfuckers that done put it on the line, this reputable motherfuckers in every city, every state. But it's just a certain way that you carry it,
yeah,
bro.
But
it's
let them be reputable in their own way. Like when I go down to New Orleans, I don't want to see no Crips and Bloods down there. I want them doing their stuff and calling us whoa and doing their thing. You feel what I'm saying? Because
that's their culture. Let me get some of that culture. Let me get some of that East Coast. Let me get some of that, you know what I'm saying, the up north shit. Let me get some of that Chicago. Let me get, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but we can do that shit without being, you know, fucked up towards each other, turning up on each other or whatever, because the niggas still done touched all these different cities. And like I said before, but like we talked about at the Death Row shit, a real nigga recognize a real nigga. We pull up in any hood, we ain't coming to disrespect, or we ain't coming to say, oh, we in your hood, this and that. We come with respect. So nigga, when you come out here, you gonna get the same respect from us. You get what I'm saying? But we want to go to Chicago and get that Harold's chicken. Mm-hmm. Or we want to go to St. Louis and shit and go into the Pink Slip. The Pink Slip I heard closed down. That's a strip spot. Only niggas, the real niggas know what I'm talking about. But you know what I'm saying? You want to go over there and get your experiences. Like you said, you want to go to the quarters and get you some beignets, and you know what I'm saying? You want to keep the culture.
you want to keep the culture authentic. It's like, you know, the Crip and Blood and stuff is a West Coast thing. And not to say that the brothers in Kansas City, because they've been doing it since the 80s now at this point. You know,
Lil Rock been doing
they've been gangbanging out there for 30, 40 years now. And I think what happened was the old dope routes, they kind of went out there and they brought their culture out there to different people, and it kind of just stood the test of time and stayed out there. But I hope people stay authentic to what their culture is.
Yeah,
and I think that's what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying, bro. Because I'm honestly, Norm, I'm the nigga that was in Compton, but I listened to a lot of hip hop from fucking KRS-One to I mean everybody, bro. That like Just Ice. I mean dudes that's back in the day. G-Rap. I listened to all that shit, bro. I was one of them dudes. Slick Rick. All the shit that was kind of like the Master Ace. I mean, a lot of New York, I was influenced by a lot of the East Coast shit, honestly, bro. And it was like, to me, them dudes was just dope at how they create shit. My nigga J. Rue, the Damager.
And that was one of your biggest markets, wasn't it?
Yeah.
New York was one of your biggest markets.
They fuck with me in New York for sure, man. They fuck with me, man. And it's funny, like, when I see a couple of dudes, like, sometimes I run into Method Man and he'd be like, "Hi, C," you know, like, we would be like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, yeah," like, he'd give me that, like I heard you, you know, like the nod and shit. So I'm like, you know, we was listening to they shit and we was influenced by it. Now it seems like it's just, the LA shit is like touching everybody for us, this, you know, the street culture shit, man. And I'm just looking at it like, bro, if that's not really you, leave that shit alone. Let the real niggas do that. There's other ways to get your bread.
You know what? Before you go, I'm gonna ask you this question, bro. You can answer it whether you want to or not. What do you think about the whole thing where certain cats is going online trying to expose cats for snitching and all that type of stuff, man? You think that's dangerous?
Man, whoo, shit, we got this is a whole nother motherfucking podcast. But it's like, to me, I'm gonna say it like this, like the old people used to tell us, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. So if you getting out here fucking around and you know some shit, don't look at what you gonna gain or what you about to win. Look at what you jeopardizing. Are you about to leave your kids behind, or you about to leave somebody behind, or your son behind, or whoever the fuck, because you got in this moment, or you got in your feelings, or you wanted to try some dumb shit or some stupid shit. Think about what you gonna lose before you think about what you gonna gain or what you about to do and turn up. And I'm saying that to say it won't put you in a position to where you have to get down on somebody or you have to snitch on somebody. Because you know how it go when they start saying, oh, well, hey, you looking at 25 or you looking at 30. And most motherfuckers are like, oh, 30, I can't do 30. So such and such did blank, 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 X, Y, Z. You get what I'm saying? When they start hitting them with the big jersey numbers and shit, no, they, oh, you looking at 15.
Yeah, that's cool.
But the real motherfuckers, Norm, hey, you looking at 20. Come on with it.
Come on with it. That's the only way. That's the way to be. Yep. But what do you think as far as cats going online and actually pointing people out?
Man, it's a tricky situation because you pointed, but look at what you just said, right? You pointing the nigga out for snitching, but what you doing when you pointing the finger? You snitched on the snitch. Yeah,
because what I was always taught, Croft, you know, I had uncles, man, that stayed in the penitentiary.
Yeah.
And they told me this exactly. They said, man, if you go expose somebody, you got to be willing to either handle your business or don't say nothing at all. It was one of them things like handle your business or don't say shit about it. You know
that's
what I mean?
how I feel. I agree. But he right about that. Because if I'm saying this nigga snitching, I'm snitching that he snitching.
Yeah, for real. And
but if I know he fucked up, you know what the best thing to do is, my best bet? Stay the fuck away from this nigga. Like, I don't fuck with you. I ain't affiliated. You can't call me. I'm just.
Yeah, for real. And there it is. And y'all be on the lookout, man, because Croft don't say it on here. He don't came on the show. I got witnesses. We got a lot of people to listen to this, man. So I got witnesses now, Croft. So when I hit you up and say, hey, man, I got the shooting schedule ready. We about to do this thing. I want to do something on the Rhodium for sure.
Man, let's do it. Big Steel, you know I love you, man. You the only nigga that could pull me out the cut, man, and just make me come out, man. Whenever you call, I'm coming. You put up the bat signal, I'm
for sure. So y'all heard him, and we out of here.
Hell yeah.